what has happened in Maharashtra will be spoken about for a very, very long time by analysts, by pollsters, and of course by people like us. Now, what did we observe when we were traveling in different parts of Maharashtra during the election campaign? That there was a movement, there was a desire for a change from what the state had been subjected to, say, over the last 10 years. But what has ultimately happened? What has happened is that the BJP-led Mahayuti has ended up coming up with the biggest victory. The BJP's numbers in Maharashtra today are the biggest that they've ever scored out of the number of seats that they've contested. It's bigger than what the BJP had got in 2014. What are the specific reasons? How did this verdict really come into play? Well, first and foremost, what we saw in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, where the RSS seemingly was not on the same page as the BJP. We all remember that famous quote which was given by the BJP president JP Nadda, where he said that the BJP as a political outfit had become bigger than the RSS, which was effectively, at the end of the day, just an apolitical organization. Well, nothing like that this time around. In Maharashtra Assembly elections, the RSS cadres were out in full flow, in full support. What we had learned was that there were over 60,000 meetings which had been organized all across the state. 60,000 karyakartas, 60,000 meetings, people coming from different parts of the country and taking charge of each booth. This booth management, this door-to-door campaigning, this mass mobilization for the Mahayuti by the RSS workers is something that the BJP has been a huge beneficiary of. The second most important point, the second biggest distinction between the MVA and the Mahayuti was the sloganeering. Safe hai, chunki ek hai to safe hai, katenge to batenge. What may have started off from UP clearly found a lot of resonance in the state of Maharashtra. I know a lot of my friends in South Mumbai who felt a little uncomfortable that how is it that this polarizing narrative is taking place in Mumbai, in parts of Maharashtra. But clearly, that has had an impact. A lot of people who did not come out to participate in the Lok Sabha elections for multiple reasons, maybe they were fed up, maybe it was too hot, maybe the hodgepodge which had gone in Maharashtra, all that has faded into oblivion, and the mass mobilization, in many ways, the consolidation of the Hindutva forces led to a scenario where what had happened in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the collapse of the OBC groups as a whole, that collapse has been reversed. And that's why the BJP is leading over the MVA pretty much in all regions across the state. Focus campaigning. The MVA just could not put a focus narrative. If the Mahayuti had a Larki Behan Yojana, which was prevalent all across the state, a sum of 7,500 rupees had been deposited in the bank accounts of people. And while we may continue to have the economist argument there that if at the end of the day all elections are being won or lost on the basis of which party has promised what kind of welfare, what kind of freebies, then no matter what you do, no matter what is the principle, no matter what is the ideology, come elections, come freebies, come social welfare, and you have a winning formula. There again, the BJP-led Mahayuti ended up triumphing over the MVA. Where did the MVA falter? Is it not true that Uddhav Thackeray had a lot going for himself in this election? Uddhav Thackeray in this election had sympathy because Eknath Shinde had taken his father's party away from him. Uddhav Thackeray had a bit of a political momentum which he had got from the Lok Sabha elections. Why is it that Uddhav Thackeray today is looking like Mayawati, in Uttar Pradesh? Nowhere to go. He today is staring at the bottom end of the barrel where his own party, the leadership of his own party is with Eknath Shinde. If this election was about settling his own son, Aditya Thackeray, he clearly is not managing to do that. Sharad Pawar, the other individual who was also hoping against hope that maybe if he ends up becoming the single largest party, his daughter will be in the fray for chief ministership. That also did not happen. Clearly, the narrative building, the MVA faltered behind Mahayuti. What happens to Eknath Shinde now? That's the other big consequence. Is Eknath Shinde the big X factor, the big differentiating factor between the MVA and the Mahayuti? Well, on the face of it, if you look at it quite clearly, a senior BJP leader told me that Eknath Shinde over the last 2 years has established himself as a chief minister. He looks after his party karyakartas. He's very accessible. And somebody was telling me that in the event of an unfortunate tragedy, which may have impacted, let's say, some BJP karyakarta, if the BJP leaders would go and announce an ex gratia payment or some compensation, say amounting to 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs, and Eknath Shinde would go and announce a payment of 15 lakhs. So is Eknath Shinde now, with this verdict, is he the big X factor? Can he continue as chief minister? That's the only sort of challenge which is there. And what happens to Ajit Pawar? Well, he's a big loser in this entire election. Because if the BJP had not scored as big as it has scored now, it would have ended up being dependent on the whimsical nature of Ajit Pawar. Nothing like that now. The BJP has got the seats. The BJP, in alliance with Eknath Shinde, can now plan a 5-year tenure for itself. Can it be a 50-50 formula? Can it be a 2.5-year each formulation which has been worked out in the past? That's something that we'll have to wait and watch out for. But net, this was an election which has literally been snatched away from the opposition by the BJP-led Mahayuti. The way they managed to do that, I think, will end up being a classic political case study for a very, very long time to come. The single most important factor, according to me, not just the Ladki Behan Yojana, which was announced, but it was the presence of the RSS. The mass mobilization being indulged in by RSS volunteers in the state of Maharashtra has ended up overturning all other political calculations that we could have thought of.